Hey, Kings and Dragons, Dragon King 551 here. We're going to bring back some Michigan stuff. Last year, I talked about Jim Harbaugh's success in a video, and I also talked about Juwan Howard and how I feel like he should have been fired because he hasn't done anything with the talent around him. And it was the same deal with Urban Meyer to Ryan Day so far, as they haven't won a national championship. But let's talk about Jim Harbaugh. Is this the year that they win a national championship? Do they have the best odds to win the national championship this year? The answer is 100%. This is the best chance they have. Let me explain why next year is just so crazy. Now, I don't know the full schedule. I don't know every single game. But in 2024, out of already 2 games that have been confirmed or of the season, out of the 12 games, there's still 10 games that are undecided. Well, actually 3, I know, is Ohio State and then 2 other ones. But other than that, there are like 7 games I'm not too sure about, and I don't know right now. So what Michigan has to do is I think they have to travel to Texas, or Texas is home. I forget which way it is. They got to go to Texas, or they got to play that. They got to play Texas. They got to play USC, and they got to play Ohio State. And then if they are playing Penn State, they still got to play them, and they got to play Michigan State. And those are like 3, those are all tough games. Those are 6 tough games in 2024 because, one, there is no conference. But let me tell you something else that's going to be very concerning for this college football playoff. And that is, now you have to determine it by strength of schedule for seeding and who gets into the college football playoff. If Alabama goes 10-2 and loses to LSU and loses to Texas as they are unranked opponents, then Alabama's odds of getting into the college football playoff slightly slip and stuff. However, if they can punch their ticket, like everyone says, if you win the Big Ten in March Madness and you win that Big Ten tournament, you are guaranteed the spot for March Madness as the Big Ten representative, and then the other teams behind you. And the same can be said. So let's say Michigan went, hypothetically, 10-1. Okay? Now, the only way they can be 10-2 is like if they lost to Ohio State. But let's say they go 10-1. Okay? Now they get into the Big Ten Championship. Well, actually, no. Yeah, I guess 11. Okay, let's say they do go 10-2. They lose to Ohio State, but Ohio State... This is just hypothetical, guys. I don't know if this would ever happen. Ohio State finishes 9-3, but Michigan gets 10-2. Penn State finishes 8-4. So, what does Michigan do? They become 10-2. They still get into their Big Ten championship. Now they win that, and now they're 11-2. Obviously, they're going to be in the college football playoff. The point is that Michigan has the best odds of winning the national championship this year because of all their players returning, where a lot of teams don't have that same advantage as Michigan does. You have a new Penn State quarterback coming in. You have 2 pretty solid running backs. But, I mean, people are saying that Michigan's running backs are not as athletic as Penn State's. I'm like, dude, you do realize both offensive lines are like 2 of the top offensive lines in the country, along with Ohio State, Alabama, and everyone else in that. If you're saying that they're not athletic, okay, fine. But I'll tell you one running back that's very athletic on Michigan, and that's Donovan Edwards, okay? He can play wide receiver and running back. I mean, I watched the Rutgers game when I went last year, and Donovan Edwards, I'm telling my friends, he's going to be motioned out to the left or to the right. He's going to be wide open in the end zone because nobody's going to cover him, and it's going to be an easy touchdown for J.J. McCarthy. What does he do? He rolls out. He finds Donovan Edwards. Touchdown. I mean, so to say a guy's not athletic is a little disrespectful. I do think that is why Michigan has the best chance to win the national championship this year. It's not even close. Look at all their defensive players. You got Jenkins coming back. You got Mason Graham. You got these new guys, Sweat, and then some guy from Nebraska or Wisconsin coming in on the defensive side. You got another tight end with Costa and Loveland from Indiana. You got a backup quarterback from Indiana. You got Mike Sangumra still. You got Will Johnson. You got Rod Moore on your team. You got Page coming back as well. You got Junior Colson and you got Michael Barrett as your middle linebackers. And then you got all that beef up front, including the big tall kid, 6'6", McGregor. And then on the offensive side, you have all of these offensive linemen and most of them returning. Then you got Mr. Cornelius Johnson, the beast. You got Roman Wilson, you got Blake Corner, you got Donovan Edwards, you got Colston Loveland, you got J.J. McCarthy. I mean, what more do you want from us? This is our year to win a national championship. This is the best chance Michigan wins the Natty. I'm sorry, but that is how I see it. Next year will be the toughest Michigan schedule I have ever seen in a long time. You know why? Because they got to play teams that are tough, and it's great. Because Michigan will play a Big Ten team, which is USC, their first week. However, if USC is ranked high like Michigan, it will propel them. Because if they play a tough schedule in 2024, they have a high probability of still getting one of the top seeds as a 1, 2, 3, or 4 and getting a bye week to help with their injuries and everything else and give them momentum. But that's all I got, guys. What do you think? Do you think Michigan wins the national championship this year? I personally do. Go blue, baby. But until next time, guys, don't forget to stay radical. I'll see you in the next one. I'm not counting any other team out. As I've said in my other prediction video for my top 4 teams, I have Texas, Alabama, Michigan, and USC as my 4. As of right now, going into the preseason and everything else, we'll see who stays healthy and stuff. And once Week 12 comes rolling around, when Ohio State and Michigan play rivalry weekend, that's when we'll know who's in the college football playoff at that point. They'll play the conference championships a week later, and it'll be over. And we'll get into the Final Four. And then once that season's over, we get ready for the 12-team expansion and everything else, and teams finally playing at their own stadiums and before the bowl games. I do think, though, that the Rose Bowl should be the national championship hosting place every single year. It's the oldest game. But that's all I got. So until next time, guys, don't forget to stay radical. I'll see you in the next one.